Inspectors typically check for screw listings by examining the panel cover for evidence of the underwriter's laboratories or UL mark, which indicates that the cover has been tested and approved by underwriter's laboratories. If the UL mark is not present, the inspector may refer to the manufacturer's listing database to verify the screw's compliance. Contractors can provide proof of screw listing by firstly showing the inspector the UL mark on the screw or panel cover, secondly providing a product specification or data sheet that indicates the screw's listing status, and thirdly contacting the screw manufacturer for confirmation. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not explicitly govern the use of cord sets with equipment not originally intended for field-connected cords. However, the inspector's interpretation of manufacturer's instructions can vary. The NEC requires that knockouts be field cut only as permitted by the enclosure's manufacturer. Inspectors may verify compliance by inspecting the manufacturer's instructions for the enclosure. Replacing an appliance cord requires compliance with the appliance's UL listing. Using the wrong cord type or field installing a plug may void the listing and create a safety hazard. While the manufacturer's instructions play a crucial role in determining proper equipment usage, the NEC ultimately establishes the minimum safety requirements. Inspectors have the authority to interpret the code and may issue violations based on their judgment. To avoid potential issues, it is prudent to follow manufacturer's instructions and consult with qualified electricians or inspectors when in doubt. Consider the implications of modifying electrical equipment and the potential impact on its UL listing and compliance with the National Electrical Code. When dealing with electrical installations and modifications, understanding the roles of the NEC, UL listing, and manufacturer's instructions is paramount. The NEC sets the minimum safety standards for electrical installations, while UL listing indicates that a product has been tested and meets specific safety requirements. Manufacturer's instructions provide guidance on the proper installation and use of equipment. Disregarding any of these aspects can lead to code violations, safety hazards, and voiding of warranties or UL listings. When inspectors evaluate an installation, they look for compliance with the NEC, proper use of listed equipment, and adherence to manufacturer's instructions. Let's delve into some common areas of confusion and potential abuse related to these standards. Firstly, screw listings for panel covers. A seemingly minor detail, the screws used to secure a panel cover can become a point of contention. Inspectors may issue a red tag if they believe the screws are not appropriately listed for the application. How can an inspector determine if a screw is not listed? They typically examine the panel cover for the UL mark, which signifies that the cover, including its components, has been tested and approved by UL. If the UL mark is absent or if there is reason to believe the screws are not original to the listed assembly, the inspector may investigate further. This may involve checking the manufacturer's listing database or contacting the manufacturer directly. How can a contractor prove that a screw is listed? The most straightforward method is to show the inspector the UL mark on the screw itself or on the panel cover. Alternatively, the contractor can provide a product specification or data sheet that clearly indicates the screw's listing status. If documentation is unavailable, contacting the screw manufacturer for confirmation is another option. Secondly, cord-connected equipment. The NEC addresses cord-connected equipment, but the application of these rules can be subjective, especially when dealing with equipment not originally designed for field-connected cords. The key is to interpret manufacturer's instructions reasonably. If the manufacturer doesn't explicitly prohibit the use of a cord set, it may be permissible, provided the cord set is appropriately sized and rated for the equipment. However, inspectors may have differing interpretations, leading to potential disagreement. When it comes to field-cut knockouts, the NEC mandates that knockouts be field-cut only as permitted by the enclosure's manufacturer. Inspectors verify compliance by referring to the manufacturer's instructions for the enclosure. These instructions typically specify the allowable locations and sizes of field-cut knockouts. Deviating from these instructions can void the UL listing and create a safety hazard. Thirdly, replacing appliance cords. Replacing an appliance cord seems like a simple task, but it must be done correctly to maintain the appliance's UL listing and ensure safety. Using the wrong cord type or field installing a plug may void the listing and create a safety hazard. The replacement cord should be of the same type and rating as the original cord, and the plug should be properly installed and grounded. Consider the scenario of replacing the cord on a shop vacuum cleaner. Can you use a Type SJ cord with the field installed plug, or must you use an appliance cord with a molded plug? The answer depends on the appliance's UL listing and the manufacturer's instructions. If the appliance was originally equipped with an appliance cord and molded plug, it's best to replace it with the same type of cord and plug to maintain the UL listing. Using a different type of cord or field installing a plug may void the listing. Similarly, using a rigid cord on a craftsman tool may not be appropriate if the tool was originally designed for a more flexible cord. The cord type should be selected based on the tool's intended use and the environmental conditions. When in doubt, consult the manufacturer's instructions or a qualified electrician. The UL listing and manufacturer's instructions are essential for ensuring electrical safety and compliance with the NEC. While the NEC establishes the minimum safety requirements, the UL listing provides assurance that a product has been tested and meets specific safety standards. Manufacturer's instructions offer guidance on the proper installation and use of equipment. Inspectors have the authority to interpret the code and may issue violations based on their judgment. To avoid potential issues, it's prudent to follow manufacturer's instructions, consult with qualified electricians or inspectors when in doubt, and prioritize safety in all electrical installations and modifications. Modifying electrical equipment can have significant consequences, especially when it comes to UL listings. A UL listing indicates that a product has been tested and meets specific safety standards. Modifying the equipment in a way that deviates from the manufacturer's instructions can void the UL listing, potentially creating safety hazards and increasing liability. So let's delve into the specifics of what constitutes a violation of a UL listing and how to navigate these situations. Firstly, understanding the UL listing. A UL listing is a testament to a product's safety and performance. It signifies that Underwriters Laboratories, a recognized testing organization, has evaluated the product and determined that it meets certain safety requirements. The UL mark on a product indicates that it has undergone rigorous testing and complies with applicable standards. When electrical equipment is modified, the UL listing can be jeopardized if the modifications alter the product's original design or functionality in a way that compromises its safety. Secondly, what constitutes a violation? Several actions can violate a UL listing, including, but not limited to, modifying the product's internal components, altering the wiring configuration, exceeding the product's rated capacity, using incompatible parts or accessories, and failing to follow the manufacturer's instructions. For example, replacing a component with a non-UL listed substitute, changing the wiring without proper documentation, or overloading the product beyond its specified limits can all void the UL listing. Similarly, using parts or accessories that are not compatible with the product or neglecting to follow the manufacturer's instructions during installation or modification can also result in a violation. Thirdly, the role of manufacturer's instructions. Manufacturer's instructions are crucial for maintaining a UL listing. These instructions provide detailed guidance on the proper installation, operation, and maintenance of the equipment. Following the manufacturer's instructions ensures that the product is used in a safe and intended manner. Deviating from these instructions can void the UL listing and create a safety hazard. For example, if the manufacturer's instructions specify that the equipment should be installed in a dry location, installing it in a damp or wet environment would violate the UL listing. Similarly, if the instructions recommend using a specific type of wire or connector, using a different type could also void the listing. The NEC plays a vital role in ensuring electrical safety. It sets the minimum standards for electrical installations and equipment. While the NEC doesn't directly address UL listings, it emphasizes the importance of using listed equipment and following manufacturer's instructions. Inspectors enforce the NEC and may issue violations if they find that equipment has been modified in a way that compromises its safety or violates the manufacturer's instructions. Navigating UL listings and modifications can be challenging. It's essential to understand the implications of modifying electrical equipment and to take steps to ensure that the modifications don't void the UL listing or create safety hazards. Here are some tips for navigating these situations. Firstly, consult the manufacturer's instructions. Always refer to the manufacturer's instructions before making any modifications to electrical equipment. These instructions provide valuable information on the proper installation, operation, and maintenance of the equipment. Secondly, use listed components. When replacing or adding components, use only UL listed parts or accessories that are compatible with the equipment. Using non-UL listed components can void the UL listing and create a safety hazard. Thirdly, document all modifications. Keep a record of all modifications made to the equipment, including the date, description of the modification, and the parts or accessories used. This documentation can be helpful in demonstrating that the modifications were done properly and don't compromise the equipment's safety. Fourthly, seek expert advice. If you are unsure about whether a modification will void the UL listing, consult with a qualified electrician or engineer. They can assess the situation and provide guidance on the best course of action. Modifying electrical equipment can be risky, but it's often necessary to adapt equipment to specific needs. By understanding the implications of modifying equipment and following these tips, you can minimize the risks and ensure that the modifications don't compromise the equipment's safety or violate its UL listing. When dealing with electrical modifications, it's important to consider the scope of the modification and its potential impact on the equipment's safety and functionality. Minor modifications, such as replacing a switch or a receptacle, may not necessarily void the UL listing, provided that the replacement parts are UL listed and compatible with the equipment. However, more extensive modifications, such as altering the wiring configuration or adding new components, may require a more thorough evaluation to ensure that the equipment continues to meet the applicable safety standards. In some cases, it may be necessary to have the modified equipment retested by UL or another recognized testing organization to ensure that it complies with the relevant standards. This can be a costly and time-consuming process, but it's often necessary to maintain the equipment's UL listing and ensure its safety. Another important consideration is the potential liability associated with modifying electrical equipment. If the modifications result in an electrical fire or other safety hazard, the person or organization that made the modifications may be held liable for any damages or injuries that result. This is why it's so important to follow the manufacturer's instructions, use listed components, and seek expert advice when making electrical modifications. In addition to UL listings, other certifications and standards may be relevant to electrical equipment. For example, equipment used in hazardous locations may need to be certified by organizations such as Factory Mutual, or FM, or Canadian Standards Association, or CSA. These certifications indicate that the equipment has been tested and meets the specific requirements for use in hazardous locations. Similarly, equipment used in marine environments may need to comply with standards set by organizations such as the American Bureau of Shipping, or ABS, or the United States Coast Guard, or USC. These standards ensure that the equipment is suitable for use in the harsh conditions of marine environments. When selecting electrical equipment for a specific application, it's important to consider all of the relevant certifications and standards to ensure that the equipment is safe and compliant. Ignoring these requirements can result in serious safety hazards and legal liabilities. Maintaining proper documentation is also crucial for managing electrical modifications. This documentation should include detailed records of all modifications made to the equipment, including the date, description of the modification, the parts or accessories used, and the name of the person or organization that performed the modification. This documentation can be helpful in demonstrating that the modifications were done properly and don't compromise the equipment's safety. It can also be useful in troubleshooting problems and in providing information to inspectors or other regulatory agencies. In addition to maintaining documentation, it's also important to train employees on the proper procedures for making electrical modifications. This training should cover topics such as the importance of following manufacturer's instructions, the use of listed components, the potential hazards associated with electrical modifications, and the proper procedures for documenting modifications. By providing employees with the necessary training and resources, you can help to ensure that electrical modifications are done safely and correctly. Electrical modifications can be a complex and challenging task. By understanding the relevant standards, certifications, and regulations, maintaining proper documentation, and training employees on the proper procedures, you can minimize the risks and ensure that electrical modifications are done safely and correctly. The NEC provides comprehensive guidance on electrical installations and modifications. It outlines specific requirements for wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. Adhering to the NEC is essential for ensuring electrical safety and preventing code violations. Inspectors use the NEC as the primary reference for evaluating electrical installations and modifications. They verify that the work complies with the code's requirements and that the equipment is installed and used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Violations of the NEC can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. Therefore, it's crucial to understand the code's requirements and to ensure that all electrical work is performed by qualified and licensed electricians. The NEC is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and industry best practices. Staying current with the latest edition of the NEC is essential for ensuring compliance and maintaining electrical safety. In addition to the NEC, other codes and standards may be relevant to electrical installations and modifications. These include local building codes, fire codes, and energy codes. These codes may impose additional requirements beyond those specified in the NEC. For example, local building codes may require the use of specific types of wiring or equipment in certain areas. Fire codes may require the installation of smoke detectors and fire alarms. Energy codes may require the use of energy-efficient lighting and appliances. It's important to be aware of all applicable codes and standards and to ensure that electrical work complies with all requirements. The electrical industry is constantly evolving, with new technologies and techniques emerging all the time. Staying informed about these developments is essential for staying ahead of the curve and providing the best possible service to clients. This can involve attending industry conferences, reading trade publications, and participating in continuing education courses. By investing in ongoing training and education, electricians can enhance their skills and knowledge and provide their clients with the most up-to-date and innovative solutions. Electrical work is inherently dangerous and should only be performed by qualified and licensed professionals. Working with electricity can result in serious injury or even death. Therefore, it's crucial to take all necessary safety precautions and to follow established safety procedures. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, using insulated tools, and de-energizing circuits before working on them. It's also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with electricity, such as electric shock, arc flash, and electrocution. By understanding these hazards and taking appropriate safety precautions, electricians can minimize the risks and ensure their safety and the safety of others. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following safe work practices, using listed equipment, and adhering to the NEC and other applicable codes and standards, we can all help to create a safer electrical environment. The National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, offers a wide range of resources on electrical safety, including training courses, publications, and online tools. These resources can be valuable for electricians, engineers, inspectors, and anyone else who works with electricity. The Electrical Safety Foundation International, or ESFI, is another organization dedicated to promoting electrical safety. ESFI offers educational programs, public awareness campaigns, and research on electrical safety issues. These resources can be helpful in raising awareness about electrical safety and preventing electrical accidents. Electrical inspections play a crucial role in ensuring electrical safety and compliance with the NEC. Inspectors verify that electrical installations and modifications comply with the code's requirements and that the equipment is installed and used in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. They also identify potential hazards and recommend corrective actions. If you're planning to have electrical work done, it's important to schedule an inspection to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. Electrical problems can be costly and time-consuming to repair. Therefore, it's important to prevent electrical problems by following safe work practices, using listed equipment, and adhering to the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. Regular maintenance and inspections can also help to identify and correct potential problems before they become serious. By taking a proactive approach to electrical safety, you can minimize the risk of electrical problems and ensure the safety and reliability of your electrical system. The complexity of electrical systems requires a comprehensive understanding of the NEC, UL listings, manufacturer's instructions, and other relevant codes and standards. By staying informed and following best practices, you can ensure that electrical work is done safely, correctly, and in compliance with all applicable requirements.